of the day or night, the ambulance hurries through the streets on its race with death. Here are medicine's shock troops, on the front line wherever disaster strikes and wherever people are hurt or dying. Each member of the ambulance crew is trained to render fast, skillful service at the scene of trouble. Head man is often a doctor, usually a young intern. He depends on his assistants, including the driver, for quick and competent help in giving first aid, usually the most that can be done at the point of call. Thousands of times a year they go forth in answer to a summons, knowing only one thing for sure, that at journey's end, a human being desperately needs the best that medical science can offer. A doctor does not always ride on these missions. The team you see now usually works out of a big city receiving hospital. In many localities, a doctor may not be sent out until it is determined whether the victim needs more than first aid. It was 8 a.m. when our doctor started his day. Not with a race through the streets on emergency, but a routine job of bandaging the head of a woman who came to the hospital. One of 35,000 who walk into the door of this place in the course of a year. When a spare moment occurs, he spends it learning the latest emergency techniques. And then it happens, the kind of call every ambulance crew dreads to get. A fire, a bad one, in a crowded residential area. On a job like this, the team loads up with extra oxygen, stretchers, gauze, bandages. They must be ready for a tough assignment. And there's no foretelling how many people will need the emergency aid that can spell the difference between life and death. In such an emergency, hospitals for miles around are alerted, and the ambulance crews work together toward the common goal of saving lives and getting medical care to those in need. The gallant men who fight a city's fires, who risk their lives amid flames, smoke, and falling walls to save lives and prevent the spread of the blaze, are among the principal victims of the very menace they are combating. The grave peril to human life from such a holocaust is not only in the actual burning by flame, but also in the deadly fumes and hot gases that permeate the building, searing and poisoning the lungs of those who are trapped within. A few hours ago, this child was gay, laughing, playing with friends, all of life ahead of her. Now she trembles on the threshold of death, the spark of life nearly overwhelmed by the inferno. The doctor gives her what help he can. But the question is, will any help avail her now? Is there any time left? Will she be able to get the further benefits of that great citadel of healing, the hospital, that has every facility to meet such a crisis in life? Here, the competence of the ambulance crew faces its greatest challenge. Oxygen to revitalize the now deficient bloodstream is administered on the way to the hospital. And now, all the questions have slowly but surely been answered. The intensive fight has been fought and won. From here on, nature will take up where science leaves off. And in the thankful smile of a child who has had an overdose of danger, the doctor finds everything that justifies the sacrifice, the grief, and the demands of his job. But the next summons is already here. A different story, yet a common one in every city where fragile man works amid steel, brick, and mortar. It's a workman hurt on the job. But since he can walk to the ambulance, first aid is delayed until he can be gotten quickly to the hospital for x-rays and other examinations. There are some calls where knowledge and skill are of no avail. Here, help comes too late. There is nothing to do for this man but fill out a report. This case is known as a DOA, dead on arrival. Medicine, for all its modern wonders, has no remedy once the stream of life has stopped. And so the ambulance rolls on its mission of mercy, to remind all who see and hear it how close death and disaster lie. But it's not always a race with death when the ambulance rolls. Take this call. It came from a small neighborhood grocery store where one of the neighboring women had suddenly become seized with pains. The police officer who made the call was on hand to give help in carrying the stretcher. But what's wrong here? What's the rush about? And in a moment, we see the answer. Wrapped in the blanket in the doctor's arm, a new citizen entitled to all the rights and privileges, including Class A medical attention.